She was hired to perform at a wedding. What she didn't know was that it was a wedding of Jinn. This is a true story that happened to a famous Kuwaiti singer named Noura back in 1997. Noura was well known. Her voice was powerful, haunting, unforgettable. She and her small band traveled from event to event, mostly weddings, filling homes with music and celebration. One day, she received a phone call, a man's voice, deep, formal. He said he wanted to hire her for his daughter's wedding. Nothing unusual. She accepted, wrote down the address, and thought no more of it. The night came. She and her band dressed, packed their instruments, and set off. The directions led them far from the city, past the neighborhoods, past the roads she knew, into the emptiness of the outskirts. And then they saw it. A mansion, massive, standing alone in the desert. Its lights glowed warmly against the night sky, its walls spotless, its gates wide. Too perfect, too still. But Noura brushed off her unease. Wealthy families sometimes lived far outside the city, and the owners, waiting at the door, greeted them with smiles and gestures of welcome. Their eyes were strange, sharp, and intense. But Noura forced a smile back. The band set up their instruments, tuned, adjusted, ready. Then the guests arrived. At first, everything seemed normal. A trickle of people, laughter, voices. But soon, something felt wrong. They didn't arrive in cars, no footsteps from the outside. They just appeared, pouring in through the doors, flooding the halls. Too many, far too many. It felt as if they were materializing out of thin air. Still, Noura played. Her voice rose, the band strummed and beat their drums, trying not to think too much of it. Until the dancing began. The guests moved strangely, their bodies twisted and bent in ways Noura had never seen. Their steps were unnatural, hypnotic, creepy, almost inhuman. Then some came forward, smiling, reaching for the band. When Noura shook one of their hands, her skin recoiled. It was scorching hot, hard, like stone. She quickly pulled away, pretending it was nothing. Summer heat, she told herself. But when she looked at her closest friend in the band, the girl's face was pale. Her eyes were wide and empty. She had felt it too. With only her gaze, she told Noura, "Don't react, just keep playing." The music continued, but unease was turning into terror. And then, the truth revealed itself. Before their eyes, the guests began to change. Limbs bent and cracked, hands and feet became like those of sheep. Faces distorted, mouths twisted. Yet they continued to dance, faster, harder, frenzied, and wild. Even the owners of the mansion were no longer human. Their true forms showed grotesque and unnatural. Noura's hands shook as she sang. Her voice trembled. Around her, her bandmates looked ready to faint or scream. Some wanted to run, others froze, paralyzed. But Noura hissed at them through her song. "Don't stop. Don't run. Pretend everything is normal." So they kept playing. Hours dragged by. Every note was a prayer for survival. Every drum beat, a heartbeat of fear. Then suddenly, silence. The lights went out. The music cut off. And the mansion, moments ago boiling hot with dancing bodies, turned icy cold, freezing. Their breath turned white in the air. The guests were gone. No sound, no movement, just crushing silence pressing in on them like a weight. It felt as if the wedding had never happened, as if they had been performing in the dark all along. That was when fear finally broke them. They dropped their instruments, left their belongings, and ran. Through the cold corridors, down the stairs, out into the night. They didn't look back. They didn't care what they left behind. Survival was all that mattered. When the sun rose and their panic eased enough for words, they spoke of what they had seen. And then they learned the truth. That mansion had been abandoned for over 10 years. No one had lived there. No weddings had been hosted. Yet the night before, it had been spotless, glowing, alive. They hadn't performed for humans. They had performed at a jinn's wedding. The story spread and many doubted. Some said Noura made it up for attention, for drama, for fame. But those who knew her knew better. After that night, she was never the same. Her voice carried no joy. She couldn't bring herself to sing again. That wedding was her last performance. When asked about it, she said only one thing. That night was not for humans. We were never meant to be there.